every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Oluyemisi Olubi, and here are tonight's top stars. Once again, thanks for joining us. And now, the news in full. The federal government has released details of the interim report on financial and assets recovered from May 2015 to May 2016. In a statement in Lagos on Saturday, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, disclosed that about 78 billion naira was recovered by government agencies. Other recoveries include over 185 million US dollars, about 3.5 million pounds, and more than 11,000 euros. Recoveries under interim forfeiture during the period totaled about 128 billion naira, $9.9 billion, 2.5 million pounds, and over 300,000 euros. According to the statement, the funds awaiting return from foreign jurisdictions total about $321 million, 6.9 million pounds, and about 12,000 euros. It shows that non-cash recoveries, which are farmlands, plots of land, uncompleted buildings, vehicles, and maritime vessels during the period totaled 239 units. President Muhammadu Buhari says fraudsters have been asking the government for money to negotiate the release of more than 200 girls abducted by Boko Haram militants over 2 years ago from their school in northeastern town of Chibok. The president also revealed that while the rescue and safe return of the remaining Chibok girls remain a top priority of his administration, he will not fall for the antics of fraudsters. The first of the 219 girls held captive since the mass kidnapping in April 2014 to be found alive was discovered last month. President Muhammadu Buhari has described as sad and regrettable the developments that led to the killing of Bridget Aghaime, an Igbo market woman in Kano State. The president condoles with the husband of the deceased, Pastor Mike Aghaime, the family and relations, praying that God will give them the fortitude to bear the loss. He also commended law enforcement agents for apprehending the prime suspects behind the killing, as well as the Kano State government, which summoned a meeting of Christian and Islamic leaders, widower of the deceased, and security agencies as soon as the sad event occurred. President Buhari says justice will be done in the matter and urges the people not to take law into their hands. He equally charges those who may not want to use the development to fan the embers of religious and ethnic hatred to remember that two wrongs never make a right, and that when law and order breaks down, those who become victims are never distinguished on the basis of religion or ethnicity. Meanwhile, the Nigerian police have arrested 3 suspects in connection to the murder. And still with the presidency, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has left Abuja for Dakar, Senegal, to attend the 49th Ordinary Summit of Heads of State and Government of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Osinbajo will be representing President Muhammadu Buhari at the event and is expected back in Abuja on Sunday. The Economic Community of West African States meeting is mostly organized in a bid to find lasting solutions to challenges faced by different West African countries. Now, the House of Representatives Joint Committees on Petroleum and Public Procurement has held an investigative hearing on the $260 million illegal contract awarded to ExxonMobil and Tilon by NNPC NAPIMS, the National Petroleum Investment Management Services Group. General Manager Dafe Fejebo says the contract agreement with joint venture partners, which predate the current economic downturn, put the NNPC and NAPIMS at a disadvantaged position without the option of renegotiation. Our National Assembly correspondent Emmanuel Ehijene brings us more.
The group general manager says Nigeria is heavily disadvantaged in the deal since there was no return on the investment, given the fluctuating nature of oil price, which is currently between $30 to $50 per barrel. The difficulties are faced meeting obligations to the joint venture partners.
So we now put with jointly with the SCDL and said, look, we can allow you to have a 2-year front-runner contract. When we say front-runner, we mean go lease a foreign flag vessel and use it to operate.
The subject matter in contention, according to the House resolution, was 4 single-source contracts for projects in ExxonMobil's Usman Deepwater project at a total value of $260 million without any form of tendering process. The proceedings on Tuesday revealed 3 different contracts involving 4 companies, namely Tilon Subsea Limited, ExxonMobil SO Nigeria Limited, GMT Limited, and Tamil Ventures Limited, worth $70 million each. Tilon Subsea Managing Director is alleging that the logistics contract duly approved and given to its firm was unlawfully terminated by NAPIMS and given to GMT as against the provision of the Public Procurement Act as well as the Nigerian law.
The employer, that is ExxonMobil, NAPIMS, and NPC, to address this sitting appropriately because you've been accused of disobeying the provisions of Procurement Act.
General Manager Procurement of EXO states that Tilon was trying to create confusion in an attempt to either mislead the committee or misrepresent the facts as they are.
To the question as to how the contract, how we entered into the contract and the PPA Act, which to my understanding, PPA Act guides public procurement. I think it's Public Procurement Act.
Management of Tamil Ventures Limited says the contract given was executed halfway when ESO approached it, saying that they want a renegotiation of the contract after it has taken an $85 million loan facility from a bank. The chairmen of the joint committees are unanimously asking ESO to revert to status quo and put every fresh commitment on hold until the investigation is over.
The whole idea is to promote indigenous owners of vessels. So all vessels involved are all Nigerian owned vessels, including Tinon and whoever you are giving us in Guinea, all Nigerian owned vessels are being promoted by Nigerians.
The House earlier in the year mandated the Committee on Petroleum Upstream and Public Procurement to investigate an alleged $250 million illegal contract by National Petroleum Investment Management Service, NAPIMS.
And onto matters of security, the Defense Headquarters has raised the alarm that members of the Boko Haram sect are planning a large-scale bombing during the Ramadan festival. Acting Director, Defense Information, Rabi Abubakar, says the insurgents are planning to carry out massive bomb attacks during early morning and evening prayers of Ramadan. Abubakar therefore urges religious organizations to take necessary security precautions during the period. He also calls on the public to be on the watch for strange objects and report all suspicious movements to security operatives for prompt action. And still with terrorists, the Nigerian army has killed 19 suspected Boko Haram insurgents, including one of their commanders during a clearance operation in Chukungudu village and surrounding communities in Borno State. The acting director, Army Public Relations Officer Sani Kuka Usman, in a statement in Maiduguri, says the operation followed the receipt of credible information on the insurgents in the village and a careful, planned and deliberate attack comprising troops of 22 Brigade Garrison, 153 Task Force Battalion of 7 Division, 8 Task Force Division, Nigerian Air Force, and intelligence surveillance, and some civilian JTF forces were also deployed. While advancing to the location, the troops encountered Boko Haram terrorist ambush positions at Muskari, Gilam, and Hausasi village before descending on their main objective at Chukungudu. And now we go to the Niger Delta, where militants have dipped the nation's oil exports further by blowing up the Focado's 48 inches under repair Shell Petroleum Development Company terminal pipeline in Burutu local government area of Delta State. The attack, sources gathered, at about 3 a.m. Meanwhile, the rampaging militant group, the Niger Delta Avengers, have claimed responsibility for the bombing in a series of tweets. The attack is coming barely 24 hours after the Minister of State for Petroleum, Ibe Kachiku, said in Vienna that the Focado's pipeline would reopen in July. The Niger Delta crisis is becoming another big case for government to solve. Recently, a group calling itself the Niger Delta Avengers have been wreaking havoc on critical infrastructures in the area. Senator Ita Enang, National Assembly Presidential Liaison for the Senate, says the people of the area must understand that development in that area is being stalled by their actions. Correspondent Jamil Afewa has more.
The nation seemed to be moving from one form of problem to another, from Boko Haram in the northeast to herdsmen clashes with farmers and agitations in the east to blowing up pipelines in the Niger Delta. Government, though, is not folding its arms as it is deploying efforts to the region to help calm tension.
The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, the Minister of Interior, the coordinator of the Amnesty Office have been taking actions consistent with their powers.
The presidential liaison is calling on leaders of the Niger Delta to advise their people against vandalism, saying it's only reducing the development of the region.
The economy of the country is bleeding and the nation is hemorrhaging, and that we cannot, given the low price of oil, go on taking actions that will further reduce the earnings of Nigeria.
Quizzed on the executive's plan to submit next year's budget in September of 2016, he says the executive is doing everything possible to see that the budget is submitted on time.
The President has submitted, and we've passed, the National Assembly has passed the 2015 Appropriation Amendment Bill, the 2016 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework, which was the basis of the preparation of the 2016 budget, which has been assented to.
He is using the opportunity to call on Nigerians to live in peace with each other. Jamila Fegwa, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Still on matters concerning the Niger Delta, the Ijaw Youth's Council is applauding the federal government for the commencement of the implementation of the United Nations Environmental Programme report on the cleanup of Ogoni land. The IYC made the commendation in a statement issued by its spokesperson, Eric Omare, in Yenagoa. The group also urged the federal government to extend the gesture to other Niger Delta communities adversely affected by oil and gas exploration. The IYC noted that the formal inauguration is a practical demonstration of political will to implement the UNEP report on Ogoni by the highest political authority. They also added that irrespective of the fact that funds have not been released for the purpose, the effort is nevertheless commendable. Meanwhile, the Ijaw National Congress says many Ijaw people, including children and women, are still missing after the military invasion of Baramatu communities in the Warri Southwest local government area of Delta State. This is even as military sources say soldiers have begun pulling out of Oporosa, the hometown of ex-militant leader, government Ekpemo Polo, alias Tampolo. Furthermore, INT National Secretary Bibobra Orubebe says there are growing numbers of internally displaced persons being currently trapped in the creeks. He, however, calls on the international community and humanitarian agencies to come to the aid of the IDPs, who he said were on the edge of dying from hunger. Nigerians in both religious and civil organizations are asking military authorities to refrain from excessive use of force on peaceful protesters, as it is against the constitution of the country. Members of the various groups who have been making their views known at different fora in Abuja have been condemning the spate of killings carried out by Nigerian army against civilians. Our correspondent Basil Okafor has more.
The clash between Nigerian army and members of Islamic Movement of Nigeria, which left many dead in Zaria on December 2015, is still fresh on the minds of many Nigerians. After several months of the deadly attack, members of the religious group are not relenting on the demand for the release of their leader, Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zazaki, who was arrested by soldiers as a result of the fracas. At a forum in Abuja, leaders of the group continue to insist that their members were unjustly massacred by the soldiers without any provocation.
What they did is barbaric and inhuman. You can imagine killing more than 1,000 people, according to human rights groups, in less than 48 hours. It's very wrong. And we are bona fide citizens. And those that were killed, substantial number.
Our leader was arrested, as you all know, last year, December 2015, without any provocation. His disciples were killed, some burnt alive. Among them were women and children.
Though military authorities have in different occasions maintained that their men only acted on self-defense whenever they are attacked, which according to them is in line with the law. Civil society organizations are also not left out in condemning the military killing of unarmed civilians, presumed to be innocent. They pointed out the case of some members of the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, who were allegedly killed by the soldiers while on a peaceful protest.
We hereby condemn these killings and call on the Nigerian government to take credible, verifiable and transparent measures to ascertain why peaceful marchers were killed without provocation. From our available body of evidence, both groups, IPOB and myself, are not known to bear arms.
As the Nigerian army and members of these groups engage in accusations and counter-accusations on who instigated the attacks first, Nigerians no doubt want a cordial relationship between the military and the civil populace. Basil Okafor, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, has decided to embark on a solidarity strike. We'll bring you details of that report and many more shortly after this break.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Welcome back. And if you're just joining us, you're on CoreTV Primetime News. And here are the top stories we're tracking at this hour. now take you to Ekiti State, where the state governor, Ayodele Fayose, has embarked on an indefinite strike in solidarity with public workers in the state who are protesting unpaid 5-month salaries. The governor made the declaration in Ado Ekiti in a broadcast on the state-owned television in Ekiti State. The governor disclosed in the broadcast that he had paid the January salary of local government workers, primary school teachers, and subventions to tertiary institutions in the state. Labor unions, however, have shunned a meeting called by the state government, citing insecurity of their lives and property owing to an anti-workers protest by the drivers' union in the state. Former Deputy Governor of Osun State, Iyola Omishore, has filed a lawsuit against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, asking for damages of 10 billion naira for alleged defamation by declaring him wanted. Omishore, who instituted the case before a federal high court sitting in Abuja, is also seeking an order restraining the EFCC from further publishing any libelous publication against him. He also says the defendants damaged his good reputation by allegedly concocting falsehood against him and portraying him as somebody who could not be trusted. The anti-corruption agency had declared Omishore wanted for his refusal to honor its invitation in a case of receiving and misappropriating over 700 million naira between June and November 2014 from the office of former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki. And I will take you to Ogun State, where a journalist with the Ogun State Council of Nigerian Union of Journalists, Nafisa Oshin, and her 15-year-old daughter have been kidnapped by gunmen in Ijebu-Ode local government area of the state. In a statement signed by the acting chairman of the state NUG chapter, Soji Amosu, he stated that the victims were abducted at gunpoint at about 8 p.m. on Thursday. The abducted journalist is the Director of Information, Odugbolu local government area, and wife of former Deputy Speaker of Ogun State House of Assembly, Tokunbo Oshin. However, the NUJ has described the abduction as barbaric and called on security agencies and state governments to help fish out the perpetrators. Taking you to Kaduna State now, the Kaduna State Police Command says the screening for the recruitment into the Nigerian police force will commence on Monday, the 18th June at the Police College, Kaduna. In a press statement signed by the Police Public Relations Officer of the Command, Zubairu Abubakar, only shortlisted applicants who received notice from the Police Service Commission via mailbox will be allowed into the venue to participate in the exercise. Zubairu said all shortlisted applicants have a date contained in his or her form to appear before the screening committee, as no candidate will be attended to before or after the day indicated on their forms. The police, however, wants applicants to maintain orderliness during the exercise, as adequate security arrangements have been made to ensure a hitch-free exercise. The Institute of Directors has been conferring meritorious awards to some Nigerians who it says have impacted positively on the growth and development of the country. Our correspondent, Basil Okafo, was there.
It was an occasion that attracted prominent personalities from all walks of life, which, according to the organizers, is to reward deserving individuals who have distinguished themselves in their areas of specialization. The awardees are, however, promising not to rest on their oars, but keep on the good works that earn them the recognition.
It's a call to serve more. There are certain things they've seen. I mean, I didn't give this to myself. They've seen that one probably possesses some kind of qualities, and that's why they are bestowing this fellowship on me.
The award is also aimed at recognizing public office holders who have developed their communities, lifted people out of poverty, and have been role models for the country.
For me, is a way going forward, both in my personal life, in my career, and of course in the national development of the civil service. Yeah.
With this recognition for excellence, many believe that it will inspire other Nigerians in both private and public sector. Basil Okafo, CoreTV News, Abuja.
Anger management is essential to human existence, as human beings have varying ways of expressing this negative emotional feeling called anger. Former Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mike Omeri, is advising Nigerian youths to dissipate their anger into positive channels. He gave this advice at a book launch in Abuja on Friday. Our correspondent in Kiruka, Nanyelugo, brings us excerpts from the event.
The former Director General, who is the chairman of the occasion, says that the lack of reading culture has made youth especially idle, and is calling on them to be more informed through reading rather than make themselves slaves to criminal activities.
Every reasonable citizen of this country, every patriotic citizen of this country, whether from the pulpit or from in the market place, on TV, radio, or newspaper, and every social space, we need to communicate the virtues of neighborliness.
The advice is coming at an auspicious time, especially with recent happenings in the Niger Delta, which some of the guests are describing as a display of angry expression. He says the nation will be a better place to live in if people only sit down to dialogue.
And by the time you let your opponent or your brother know that you are angry of something, he may be able to come back and reconcile or apologize or do something or fix that making you to be angry.
Writer of the book says the book highlights ways to curb negativity therein and hopes that it will definitely impact positively on readers. The book titled Iwe, meaning anger in Igbo language, teaches that anger is an emotion to befriend and could be a weapon for positive change.
And on to health matters now. The Nigerian Navy has extended medical outreach to a neighboring Fulani community in Kaduna State, saying health plays a significant role in facilitating security. Speaking at Laduga District in Kashia local government area of Kaduna State, venue for the free medical outreach, the commandant of the Nigerian Navy School of Armament Technology, Kashia, Commodore Timothy Dakwat, said the outreach is part of Nigerian Navy's partnership to address contemporary security challenges. CoreTV correspondent was there and files in this report.
According to Commodore Dakwat, security challenges require the military partnering with host communities in order to address security challenges, and that informs this particular activity. It says as part of civil-military relations, the Navy will continue to collaborate with communities to assist them with good information that will facilitate their efforts at providing security for the country.
Health plays a significant role in facilitating security. Where you have people that are not healthy, they become a burden to government, to society, and that in itself has security implications.
The senior naval officer enjoins members of the community to always work together with all security agencies to ensure that no criminal use their village as an hideout.
Expect them to continue to collaborate with us, you understand, to give us good information that will facilitate our providing security, not only to them, but to neighboring communities as well.
The outreach, in which free eye treatment, including provision of eyeglasses, as well as free eye blood pressure treatment, were offered to the community, which is home to over 25,000 Fulani nomads. Meanwhile, a member of the community, while commending the Navy for the free health service, calls on the government to provide basic social amenities for the people in the community, as there is no presence of the government in the area.
We don't have a single clinic, even if it is a health post manned by the government, with government staff working in it, even if they are at the level of community health extension workers and environmental health assistants. We don't have it in this village.
He, however, says the only hospital in the community is one that was built by a member of the community who decided to give back to society. He urges the government to provide healthcare center, equipment and drugs with a view to safeguarding the lives of members of the community.
And in business news, some capital market operators are decrying the non-release of the flexible foreign exchange rate guidelines by the Central Bank of Nigeria, 2 weeks after the pronouncement was made public. Speaking with newsmen in Lagos, these operators explained that the delay in releasing the guidelines is heightening uncertainties in the foreign exchange market. They, however, urged the Apex Bank to hasten the process to reduce the uncertainties in the forex market and the economy in general. According to reports, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Apex Bank on May 24th asked the CBN to work on a flexible exchange rate system and ensure a speedy release of the framework. We'll go on a short break now, and when we get back, we'll bring you news from outside Nigeria and the world of sports.
CoreTV News now live on all Androids.
Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News.
Download CoreTV News app from your Play Store. Click on the menu to see all our top stories from politics, sports, business, foreign news and live TV to watch us live on your mobile.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
You can also click on video to see all our YouTube videos. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. We'll begin by taking you to the United States, where its government says it has received information that terrorist groups are planning to carry out attacks against places where its citizens congregate in shopping areas in South Africa. This information comes against the backdrop of the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant's public call for its adherents to carry out terrorist attacks globally during the upcoming month of Ramadan. ISIS have singled out upmarket shopping areas and malls in the commercial hub of Johannesburg and Cape Town, widely regarded as South Africa's tourism capital, as the main target areas. And now at least 15 people have been killed and more than 40 others were injured in bombings targeting a police checkpoint, a restaurant and 2 markets in and around Baghdad. The deadliest incident occurred when a suicide bomber detonated his explosives at a checkpoint in Tamiya, about 50 kilometers north of the capital, killing 8 people and wounding 15 others. 3 of the dead were soldiers. Another 5 people were killed in 2 separate attacks on markets in Baghdad, and yet 2 more were killed in a bomb attack on a restaurant in the capital. And now we'll take you to France, where torrential rains and flooding have killed at least 14 people, most of them in parts of Europe, with France declaring a natural disaster after the river Seine in Paris burst its banks in some places, displacing thousands of people. The river level rose to 6.1 meters above its normal height overnight, despite the water level falling on Saturday morning. Paris remains under the second highest alert, which signs of significant impact. Forecasters have warned that the river could reach as high as 6.5 meters above its normal level. At least 16 people have died across Central Europe, as heavy rainfall caused flooding from France to Ukraine. And now we'll take you to Syria, where troops have crossed into Raqqa province, nearing the capital of the Islamic State. A U.S.-backed alliance of Syrian, Kurdish and Arab fighters started a campaign in May to expel IS militants from land north of Raqqa. ISIS seized the city in 2013 from rebels opposed to President Bashar al-Assad. The jihadist group quickly established its headquarters there and began imposing its vision of a state, implementing a strict interpretation of Islamic law. And our sports.
Our style, and that's what he delivered.
We begin in Korea, where coach Samson Siasia has blamed careless mistakes for his side's embarrassing 2-6 defeat to Denmark. The Nigeria's under-23 team were beaten 2-6 by the Danes in Saturday's 1 invitational tourney matchday 2 clash at the Gyeong Sports Complex in South Korea. Siasia said his words got everything wrong from the start of the match to the end of the encounter and were ruthlessly punished by their Scandinavian opposites. And in tennis, Spain's Garbine Muguruza beat world number 1 Serena Williams in straight sets to win her first Grand Slam title at the French Open. Fourth seed Muguruza won 7-5, 6-4 to make amends for losing last year's Wimbledon final against Williams. The 22-year-old is Spain's first female champion at Roland Garros since Arantxa Sanchez Vicario in 1998. Williams had hoped to win a 22nd Grand Slam singles title and tie Steffi Graf's Open era record, but was disappointed at the defeat. Three-time world heavyweight boxing champion Muhammad Ali is dead. He died at the age of 74 after suffering from a respiratory illness. Born Cassius Marcellus Clay, Ali shot to fame by winning light heavyweight gold at the 1960 Rome Olympics. Ali turned professional immediately after the Rome Olympics and rose through the heavyweight ranks, delighting crowds with his showboating, shuffling feet and lightning reflexes. Muhammad Ali won his first world heavyweight title at the age of 22 and retired in 1981, having won 56 of his 61 fights. His funeral would take place in his hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, United States. And now Borussia Dortmund have confirmed the signing of Barcelona's centre-back Marc Bartra as replacement for Germany defender Mats Hummels on a 4-year contract. Dortmund triggered a release clause in Bartra's Barcelona contract, allowing him to leave for just £8 million, having reportedly sold Mats Hummels to Bayern Munich for £35 million. The 25-year-old Bartra is part of Spain's Euro 2016 squad and completed the medical check in Dortmund in the past few days. And that's all we have for you on CoreTV Primetime News. But before we go, here are the top stories we tracked at this hour. And on that note, we drop the anchor on CoreTV Primetime News. Do join us at 12 midnight for the Midnight Update. I am Oluyemisi Olubi. Have a great night.